Hello, everyone. Welcome. It is Thursday night. It is time for Revolutionary Change. I'm Jen Perelman.
I'm Peter Hager, and I'm going to try some different styles on the live stream from now on. Today's the dry look. What do you think?
I think it's interesting. It's new for you.
Got to keep the audience interested. Got to bring them a little bit of flair here and there. And on Thursdays, when we suffer from the algorithm the hardest, we got to entice them somehow. Can't just be voices. Maybe it's looks too.
I don't know. I'm not going with the looks.
Whatever keeps the audience engaged. Well,
Many likes it. Libertarian, Social Democrat, not so much. If you want to do a poll, you could do a poll.
With all due respect to Social Democrat, it looks like the ladies like the look, so I got to go with what the ladies want. What am I going to do?
Yeah.
So how are you?
I am good. I did upload, give Colin a little video to upload as to what's going on behind me, behind the curtain.
David, it's Thursday, not Saturday. Wait a couple of days.
David, don't threaten him with a good time.
Trust me, I'll be to Jen's chagrin, I will be covering that video of Erica Kirk. That's just too good.
I don't care. I didn't even see it. Don't know what you're talking about. Could not care less.
Well, keep giving us good material. Speaking of stuff that doesn't make the rounds, speaking of stuff that nobody is really talking. Well, actually, you know what? Before we really get started, should we put everybody in a good mood at the start or at the end?
Well, you know what? We should kind of make it be like, an up and a down and an up and a down. Is there a wizard behind the curtain? No, do you guys want to see what's behind the curtain? I'm not going to show you behind the curtain, but I do have a little video of something that is behind the curtain. Do you see it up there?
No, I can't see anything. I actually thought maybe you went into like a different room or something like that.
No. Do you want to see, guys? You want to see what's behind the curtain? Okay.
What's behind the curtain? They're so cute.
Like, look at this one. Look at him. They're all girls. I don't know why I say him. They're all girls.
They are?
So they're all girls. Of course. We don't need a rooster.
We
don't need a rooster. So there are 6 baby chicks back here. I don't know if you can, they're going to start to get louder as they get older. But right now, they're those little babies that we just showed you. But I also did pull up a picture of what they will look like as full-grown birds. So, guys, this is the breed of chicken that we're dealing with. They are salmon color. I don't know why they say salmon. I picture salmon as like an orange. But they are salmon Favrot, which is this French breed. You know me, I have to get some rare Frenchy foo-foo thing. But in all seriousness, they had them at Tractor Supply. So even though they are this like breed that's kind of a rare thing, but anywho, they're these Favrot, rare heritage breed from France. But aren't they cute? And they have 5 claws, and they also have feathered feet. Like they get those boots. They have boots. Yeah. So that's what those littles will be, except for one. They put one in that's not one of those. So she'll be interesting. She'll be brown. Like we're going to just tell everyone that she's adopted.
Yeah.
Well, yes, the one that's not like all the others.
And Crazy Cat. Yes, that's something that a lot of people don't realize. You're actually not supposed to refrigerate eggs. They're supposed to be
unnecessary. It's completely unnecessary in this country. Because we wash our eggs like commercially in chemical that depletes the outer shell. It makes them susceptible to bacteria. And of course, there's a profit motive involved in all this, whichever the company is that does the spraying of whatever the chemical is. But in other countries, when you go into a market, the eggs are generally sitting in baskets on the counters. Yeah.
So the main purpose of the chicks are?
The main purpose of the chicks are eggs. These will be egg layers. We have 6 right now, and we'll see how it goes.
By the way, have you
And
named your farm yet?
no, no.
All right.
I'm actually going down tomorrow to go get Betty Lou, which is the camper, and bring it up here. So
Find some
no, I haven't
inspiration.
named the farm yet, but we have so many things planted. Rachel's been very busy planting.
Dixie chicks. Well, they are technically Dixie chicks. That is true. They are in North
They
Georgia.
are.
So yeah, that works.
Yeah,
That's,
no, we don't need a rooster around here. Nobody needs that.
no, I've seen roosters going after hens in heat. It could be pretty violent. Let me tell you, those
I'm not,
roosters.
yeah, we don't need a rooster. There's no purpose for a rooster in our little existence here.
Well, start of many great things to come, I am sure.
Yes, we have good eggs. We're going to have the good eggs.
Well, I will definitely have I have many reasons to come up that way, but you're adding another layer.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we're going to have all sorts of food. We have so many different things planted now. So we'll see.
Well, I think anybody who comes up to the farm or down to wherever that comes to the farm should earn their keep, should be helping out around the farm. I think many hands make light work.
Well, yes, obviously there's a lot of space that we tend to. Rachel really works hard here.
I'm sure. So since we're on an upper, let's go to a downer. It turns out that not only is Israel it's funny, they can fight how many fronts right now? Of course, they're fighting it primarily with our
Like
artillery. 7 fronts. But you know what they never lose sight of, guys? The most important thing in the world, stopping any flotillas with desperately needed humanitarian aid for the people of Gaza. And they still want to make sure that everyone knows that if you even attempt to come to their territory, that you will be kidnapped first and foremost. But there's a little more interesting layer to this one in particular, isn't there, Jen? Not only is this story not getting any attention, which it should, how about the fact that this wasn't done anywhere near Gaza? This was done just off the coast of Greece.
Well, how is that different than the last times? The last times were nowhere in the realm of what would be legally their territory. Any of the times that they've intercepted the humanitarian flotilla, any of the times, they're always in somebody else's waters. They're not in their own waters when it happens. And nobody does anything to stop them. They just sort of roll over and play dead.
Colin,
and now we're going to have a global economic crisis and shut down essentially because the whole world were a bunch of pussies that couldn't stand up to Zio hell. So now we're all going to have to go through this.
Colin, could we have the story, please? You sent him one, I assume.
What, the flotilla?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I sent him that one because wait, I think I did. Wait a minute. Yeah, we spoke about that. Colin, I sent you something about the flotilla, didn't I?
Yeah, is what I have pulled up, not it?
Let me see. Where do you have? That's what you sent me, Peter. I sent him whatever you sent me.
I wasn't sure. Well, we could start with that. But the global Samud flotilla, Samud flotilla, was attacked last night by warships. This is according to Navarra media. They're pretty reputable. Drones and speedboats full of heavily armed.
He says that's not it. Is that not it, Colin? Hold on a second. We should just, let's read this and then, okay.
And there's a story we could grab. Greece is not pro-Zio, but their government certainly is. Drones and speedboats full of heavily armed Israeli commandos, despite sailing just off the coast of Greece, more than 500 nautical miles from Gaza. 500 nautical miles, and they're getting access to Greece's water. This is Greece's territory. This isn't like technically this is Israel's territory. No, this is in Greece that they did this. And is Greece going to say anything about it? Of 57 boats at sea, 22 are believed to have been intercepted in the attack, which began at around 11 p.m. local time. 35 others escaped interception, with many sailing into Greek territorial waters. Around 170 participants are believed to have been detained and are likely being taken to Israel, several days' sail away. Others were left stranded at sea In a statement, GSF described their situation as a calculated death trap. After smashing engines and destroying navigation arrays, the military retreated, intentionally leaving hundreds of civilians stranded on powerless, broken vessels directly in the path of a massive approaching storm. Organizers initially assumed that all intercepted participants had been detained. Many activists posted pre-recorded videos to their Instagram accounts saying they had been taken hostage. But with systems down and phones thrown overboard, shock, it is possible some are actually adrift and are unable to communicate. So they're kind of hoping that they just disappear. Get it? In October, the IDF pirated flotilla boats and sailed them back to Ashdod. But Israeli commandos reportedly found this challenging because they got seasick and didn't know how to sail. There's a lot of things they don't know how to do when they have to fend for themselves. The journey then was only hours long. This time, it could last several days. While Israel has illegally intercepted dozens of past flotillas in international waters, the distance from Gaza and proximity to Europe this time is unprecedented, with many asking how European governments could allow it to happen. UN Special Rapporteur Francesca Albanese said on Instagram that the attack should send shockwaves across Europe. Alarm. How on earth is it possible that Israel is allowed to assault and seize vessels in international waters just off Greece?
But they did the last times, not off Greece, but it was international waters. And then I think at one point it was like, what was it? Crete, Capri? What was it?
Capri, I believe.
It was, but it had nothing to do with Ziohel, and it was certainly not in their water. Anything that's not in their water is a violation of international law, but it doesn't matter because we no longer have laws.
Law doesn't matter.
No, it used to matter. We have there's a story I want to talk about. I think I told you about it for tonight that I'm gonna law and order does not exist anymore.
Just so we're clear, we know this. We don't trust anybody that's a part of the machine.
We'll get into Ossoff. We'll get into that.
He's actually the dark horse to be the Dem nominee, by the way.
We'll address this. We have a video about that. Yeah.
Yes.
And also, again, that was whose office I went to when we were with Doctors Against Genocide, because I was with the Georgia group. And so we did meet with Ossoff's person. So I have some thoughts.
Couldn't find the time to meet with you, though.
No. And just, this is an instance where I actually am now officially a constituent.
That's true.
I don't think I've had a Democrat senator in 30 years. I mean, maybe since I was a kid. I don't think I've had one.
So, Colin, pull up the AP story that I just sent you, please. That'll be good.
Yeah, that was the one I sent. I think that's what I sent him. So why do we have to follow laws? We don't, Josie. It's a facade. We don't.
Jen, would you like to?
Sure. So this is AP, guys, and Israeli forces intercept Gaza aid flotilla and plans to drop off activists in Greece. Well, that's at least a better plan than bringing them back to Ziohel and torturing them. So Israeli forces near the southern Greek island of Crete intercepted more than 20 boats from a flotilla of several dozen, seeking to break Israel's naval blockade of Gaza and plan to transport about 175 detained activists to Greece on Thursday, Ziohel said. Activists aboard the global Samud flotilla said the genocidal entity stormed their vessels overnight, smashing engines and detaining some of those on board while they were sailing in international waters near Greece, hundreds of miles from Gaza and Ziohel. The genocidal entity said they needed to take early action against the flotilla before it reached Ziohel because of the high number of boats involved. Oh my God, the amount of aid involved. None of these boats are armed. mind you. So there are
Yeah.
a lot of boats. So there's a lot of food and medical equipment. So I could see how that would be horrifying.
Oh, remember when little Zio princess Lizzie Savetsky tried to claim it was like a drug boat or some shit?
Right. And now they're trying to smear one of the leaders of the flotilla with all these sexual harassment claims that apparently have no complainants.
Spare me.
Yeah. Yeah, they need to take care of it. The flotilla set sail earlier this month from Barcelona. Organizers have said more than 70 boats and 1,000 people from around the world would be participating, with more vessels joining the original boats as the flotilla sailed east across the Mediterranean. Flotilla organizers condemned Ziohel's interception as a dangerous and unprecedented escalation, describing it in news release as the abduction of civilians in the middle of the Mediterranean. Yeah, I would describe it exactly the same. Over 600 miles from Gaza in full view of the world. Yeah, sounds right. In a separate statement late Thursday, organizers said 31 of the 53 vessels had reached safe waters and would continue their attempts to break the illegal siege. All right, so you still have 31 boats. And again, I have no delusion that this is necessarily, but it sure as hell does cause them to be having to have resources in another location dealing with unarmed people as opposed to where the armed people are. So, it's a distraction. Israel, you want to read?
Israel's foreign ministry originally said in a post on X that it was taking about 175 activists from more than 20 boats participating in the flotilla to Israel. Foreign Minister Gideon Saar later wrote on X that the activists would be transferred to Greece in coordination with Greek authorities. The Greek Foreign Ministry issued a statement saying it had asked Israel to withdraw its ships from the area and has offered its goods services for the activists to disembark in Greece and be repatriated. Did you write them a sternly worded letter? Is that what you did? Just like the Democratic establishment? Did you write them a sternly worded letter and said, please don't invade our waters? Please don't.
And then give them a little wink, maybe little winky wink, and say, just don't say that we
don't shave too much off the top. Oh. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu congratulated the Israeli Navy in a statement saying the mission to keep the flotilla away has been a success. I'm telling you, he gets off on this. He jerks off doing this. They love going after people who can't defend themselves.
That's all they can do.
That's all they can.
That's the only place in which they appear to themselves to be triumphant. Like, that's the only place they succeed. They don't do well against any groups that are actually armed. They lose at those.
They will continue to watch Gaza on YouTube. Really?
Yeah, whatever.
I mean, listen, at least he embraces the animal that he is. Protests in solidarity with the flotilla were called across several capitals. In Rome, crowds gathered outside the Colosseum holding Palestinian flags. In Athens, supporters chanted in support of the flotilla outside of the Greek Foreign Ministry. Turkey's foreign ministry condemned the seizure as an act of piracy. Spain summoned
Turkey, you're foot in both sides. Foot in both sides. Do not.
They don't really have a choice. Turkey's the one country that really doesn't have a choice.
Spain
summoned the Israeli charge d'affaires in Madrid to convey its strongest condemnation of the detention of the flotilla, which includes Spanish citizens. The ministry said in a statement, Italy and Germany said they were following developments with great concern. In a post on Telegram, Hamas also condemned the interception, accusing Israel of committing a crime without accountability and calling the release of those detained. Israel and Egypt have imposed varying degrees of a blockade on Gaza since Hamas seized power from rival Palestinian forces in 2007. Israel says the blockade is needed to prevent Hamas from importing arms. Let me know when you intercept one of those flotillas carrying arms. Let us know. Or maybe you'll plant them there.
And that's what they would do. Right. That's what they would do, would be plant them. But it's silly. Nobody believes them. Nobody believes them. And yeah, regarding the thing about Greece, it's no different than our country or these other countries. The Greek people are not the problem.
No.
The Greek people are stuck like we're stuck. You know, I mean, the oligarchy and the capitalist empire is global. And anything that's under that sort of umbrella, which does include Greece, their people are screwed like we're screwed. They don't have a say-so either. So this has nothing to do with the Greek people. We love the Greeks. The truth is, other than the genocidal entity, I like people from all places. I haven't met anybody from any place in particular that I would say would cast a bad image of anybody from that place ever, other than Ziohel.
Yeah, I was going to say.
So I don't have a problem with people. Okay, maybe French Canadians that don't tip in South Florida, but not in the same way.
I also want to be very clear about something. I know a lot of people get frustrated and they ask themselves, well, what is it that we could do to really make change? There's really only two things that you can do. The first one is get your asses to Washington, D.C. and make your presence known. You know, Medea Benjamin. I'll explain. Let me explain. Medea Benjamin and Code Pink are a band of maybe a half a dozen people, but they make life such living hell for the people on the Hill. Now, they don't really feel threatened by them because how could you? It's only 6 people. But what if they had to deal with 600 people walking the halls of Congress every day, making their lives a living hell, making sure that they cannot breathe? You have often said that none of them deserve a moment's peace. And you're right.
No, but that's when, okay, but here's the difference between what I say about that and what you're saying now. When, if we were to do that, right, all that will happen is they'll close down their buildings to outsiders.
Let them.
Okay.
Let them do
right.
Again.
Whereas what I'm talking about is not giving them a moment peace when they're out in public in their personal lives, because that's what makes them miserable. If we're bugging them at work, they'll shut down our ability to get to them at work. So I don't think that's going to hassle them as much as in their personal lives. And again, in public places. I do not support going into people's private residences, private property. That is not what I'm suggesting.
No. What I am saying is that you have a couple of things to consider. I said it does nothing if you're not strategic. If you go there without an actual plan and an actual base of operation in terms of how to grow it out and make it sustainable, you are wasting your time.
Mehdi, we are so far past what's legal now. All that would have to happen would be some sort of executive order or declaration of an emergency, and it would be over. And then we would have no say-so, and we would be screwed in every other facet like we are right now. I'm just saying. We would probably have the same amount of recourse that we have for all these other grievances that we have. So, yeah. There
is no question that if there was one aspect from a financial standpoint that does make the difference, it's BDS. That is the one thing that, again, if you're talking about how do you actually fight back against this, you have to hit them in their wallet. There is no other way. It's the only thing they respond to because it's the only thing that matters. There's
direct action is working. Direct action is working.
Direct action.
And let's not be fooled.
People, I know people in my line of work that hate Israelis, but they do business with them because that's the nature of the game. And that is the nature of being in control of the banking system. This is one of the dirtiest, unfortunate secrets about the global financial order is that the Israelis have a very big stranglehold led by the Rothschilds when it comes to how money is recognized and utilized around the world. And as long as people like them are truly running the entire show, this is exactly what you can continue to expect. Now, with that being said, there are changes that are happening. BRICS is definitely for real, and they are not a part of this Western Zionist system. That is what's changing. And you can't just change it overnight. That's the thing.
Yeah, I wasn't, when I talk about direct action, I'm talking in addition to BDS. Like, when you look at, and as far as I know now, we're up to over 70 something warehouse fires that have been going on since the original Kimberly-Clark fire. That's direct action.
And you just know that there is no way that's ever going to get any type of national coverage.
No, and that's fine. I know it's happening. And the other thing that's happening is I don't think it's happened in this country that I'm aware of yet, but I know that in the UK, activists broke into an Elbit, which is, Ziohel is one of their biggest defense contracting manufacturers in UK. They've broken into and damaged equipment multiple times in locations. So direct action costs them time and money. And I know that the Epstein class would like to say that direct action is violence. I don't find that violent. I find denying people health care and a living wage violent. I find setting buildings on fire full of stuff a very potent message. So, violence, is when you're purposefully hurting people. When you're punching up, I call it self-defense.
Unfortunately, most people tend to punch down. They just don't realize it. And that's where the Great Awakening is happening for so many people. It's not that I want to see.
Do you want to go into the Democrats? Because we could do the Ossoff thing, and then we could also talk about that resolution.
Sure.
Yeah.
If there is a dark horse, assuming that he wins re-election, which obviously right now it looks like he will because the Democrats are going to likely win the midterms. John Ossoff is probably the one non-governor that would be running for president that could potentially be a dark horse candidate.
Yes.
I think he comes off in a way that AOC could never come off in terms of professionalism, in terms of the fact that he is Jewish and the fact that he does not appear to be, at least to my knowledge, tell me if I'm wrong, but to my knowledge, he is not conscripted to Israel, which is great.
We'll get into that, won't we? I have thoughts, and I will talk about that.
But he's good. There's no question that he's good in terms of what he does. I'm not saying that he's good, as a politician in terms of what he supports, what he doesn't support. There is a limit to where you can take this. However, this is what you call a masterclass in a political ad.
Where did you first see this? So this
he just dropped this today.
Okay.
So that was one of the reasons I wanted to play it. I had the pleasure of orchestrating one congressional ad for Jen when she ran the first time, and it was pretty good. And then there was an ad that we did that I forget who it was that you worked with that did the ad the second time around.
Pat McGee.
Pat McGee.
He's amazing.
Did a fantastic job.
He's amazing.
There is something to be said for putting solid political rhetoric into video form. This is one of them. I don't know why this thing went all the way to the end, but let's start from the beginning. It was a great ad, wasn't it?
I didn't watch it. I couldn't see it.
We're told a story. Work hard, play by the rules, and you'll thrive. No matter who you are or where you start, the grind will pay off. But for too many, this story just isn't true. Groceries, rent, insurance, taxes, the car note, the power bill, the math doesn't work.
I was so happy to graduate college, but why is rent so expensive?
2 out of 3 Americans told us they're stressed about their own finances.
No matter how hard you hustle, you can't get ahead. The culture wars are exploited to divide us, while insurance companies get away with denying our claims, while hedge funds buy up all the houses in our neighborhoods, while we have to pay $3,000 for an ambulance. You aren't the problem. Neither are your fellow Americans. The problem is a corrupt and failing political system. The problem is that the people's elected representatives don't represent the people. They represent the donors and special interests. Corruption is why things don't work for ordinary people. To fix it, we have to understand it. Corruption's impact isn't abstract, it shows up in our daily lives. Take prescription drugs. The cost of medicine in America is astronomical compared to other wealthy countries.
Millions of Americans simply can't afford their prescription drugs right now.
Some seniors are going without just to afford the medication they need to live.
About 1 in 3 American adults skip the medication their doctor prescribes because they can't afford it. Drug companies charge hundreds of times what it costs to produce them. But how have they gotten away with it? Every election cycle, drug companies spend millions on campaign contributions to Republicans and Democrats to shape policy and protect their profits. And members of Congress fall in line. It's corruption in plain sight. But nowhere was pharma's grip on Congress clearer than in 2003, when the industry corrupted legislation that was meant to make medications affordable. See, Congress was creating Medicare Part D, a program meant to help seniors afford prescriptions. But drug companies moved quickly to protect their profits. The industry mobilized an army of lobbyists to secure a key provision in the bill that prevented the federal government from using Medicare's bargaining power to negotiate lower prices. Other wealthy countries, they negotiate to get a better deal for their citizens. Our Congress banned that, and the result was predictable. American seniors ended up paying more than patients almost anywhere else. But the congressman who led the charge to protect Big Pharma, Billy Towson, he left Congress right after the bill passed to run one of the pharmaceutical industry's biggest lobbying powerhouses, earning more than $2 million a year.
This doesn't look good.
But
that's this bill through that gets that produces a windfall for the drug companies, and then you go to work for the drug lobby at a salary of $2 million.
if that looks bad to you, have at it. That's the truth.
I have so many problems with this whole thing.
Yeah.
I will get to that.
We're going to dissect this.
We're going to dissect this, but I will say this: lobbying is not the problem. Lobbying is not the problem. The money is the problem. Anywho, we'll get to that.
Yeah. I mean, listen, you could lobby whatever you want, but if the lobbying involves bribery.
Well, that's the thing. Think of it this way. Code Pink lobbies. When I was there with Doctors Against Genocide, we're lobbying. So people need to change that mind. The lobbying isn't the problem. You want lobbies because lobbies represent groups of people in different interests. We want that. We want the farmers. Not every farmer can get there. So you want them to have a group that represents them. You want teachers to have that. So lobbying isn't the problem. The problem is whoredom. That's the problem. Yeah.
Now, again, I want to be very clear. I know a good political ad when I see it. It doesn't mean that it's honest. It doesn't mean that they're not leaving out a very important part. You see, one of the big reasons why Obama caught so much fire in 2007 is because of the reaction that came in 2004, 2005 from Medicare Part D, which again is what set so many people back to the point in which we actually thought that there was a chance to get single payer in this country, or at a bare minimum, the public option. That's why when he said, when I run for president and I win, you're going to get yourself health care. And some health care we got, wasn't it?
All right, let this play because I have comments.
This is how the system has worked for a long time. But it doesn't have to, and it doesn't always.
Tonight, for the first time, Medicare will finally negotiate with the drug companies to lower the prices.
In 2022, I helped pass a bill that finally started to break pharma's grip on Congress.
Georgia seniors' out-of-pocket prescription costs are now capped at $2,000 per year. And the law also puts a $35 monthly cap on insulin costs for those with Medicare.
That doesn't mean...
I want to be very clear before we finish this out. It's nice that you did that, John. You did it for a very small, tiny part of the broken system. Now, if you're not up there full-throatedly, and I got to give credit to Tom Steyer, who's running for governor in California. He has said single-payer healthcare, and he said it on the debate.
I haven't heard that come out of Ossoff's mouth, but yeah,
that's
we
why.
can get into this when this is over. The whole ad is, it's absurd.
The problem is solved, but it's proof the system can be changed when there's the will to do it. This fight isn't just about politics. It isn't just about one man or one party. It's about power. Who has it and who our system serves. If we can break the grip of corruption, our politics can meet the people's needs instead of serving the wealthy and powerful. That's a fight we have to win.
Okay. Big picture problem with this ad for me. This is no different than when someone like Debbie Wasserman Schultz goes after the gun lobby because she doesn't take money from them. Okay. So what they do is, so Ossoff, who takes PAC money, he takes PAC money. He takes corporate money, as far as I know. He takes PAC. I know he takes PAC money. I'm not sure all the PACs, but he takes money from J Street, which supports a genocide.
Yeah,
so he takes corporate money, which to me makes him a participant. Can we take this down?
I'm trying to find this this image from the beginning that I just wanted people to see.
Okay. So, because it's distracting. So, you know, if he takes corporate money and he takes PAC money and he's on the take from whatever he's on the take for, where the fuck, John, do you get off on critiquing the people that are on the take from this industry? It's the same thing as Debbie going after people that take money from the NRA. I don't take gun lobby money. If you're taking money from industries to do their work, you're their whore, and picking and choosing which industries you're able to make a stand on because you don't get money from them isn't a flex. It just makes you look like a hypocrite. And J Street, okay, you're showing your whole ass. I mean, I'm gonna put that right there. If you take money from J Street, you are not serious.
This is why
you're one of the people that wants to have it both ways. And doesn't want to take a stand because you have no sack. That's why.
This is why you are either against the state of Israel or you're for it. When they say, I don't take AIPAC money, what they're really telling you is, I think you're a moron, and I don't think you're smart enough to do enough digging to realize that there are dozens, not a few, dozens of pro-Israel lobbies and PACs. They're all out there. Some have more money than others. It is a known thing that the Jewish lobby or the Jewish Zionist lobby tends to lean much more towards the Democrats, whereas the Christian Zionist lobby tends to lean much more towards the Republicans. But it's all the same as far as I'm concerned. I don't really see any difference. And the reason I framed this particular photograph is because what you have to understand about capitalism, ladies and gentlemen, these people here, these people that work for Blackstone, that are standing in front of the New York Stock Exchange bell, these are everyday people. They're not vermin. They're not lizard people that you can just spot from a mile away. Although, you know, Larry Summers, among other people, are probably a little easier to spot. Point is, these are people who make a lot of money fucking over the average person. Yes. And they're very happy to do it. That's the big problem.
Yes.
So thinking that there's any difference, there isn't. The distinction here, of course, is that
they're all the same.
What Ossoff was doing was very sleight of hand. Yes, the Democrats and the Republicans are bought by these systems, but
how dare he come forward like he's some sort of healthcare savior? Where the fuck have you been, John? Because I don't remember you standing up and fighting for single payer with Bernie. I don't remember that. I don't remember you supporting single payer. I don't remember shit about that. So you don't take money from big pharma. So what? That makes you all that? I cannot stand people that just, they find one thing that they can latch onto where they are not therein corrupt in that one thing and somehow try to look like that they're doing something.
Well, that's exactly what this is. This is just another rebrand. This is exactly what they do because in the end, they will not give up the power. They won't do it. They will not run the risk. In fact, we have said this before, you actually have a much better chance of it being broken through the Republican ranks than the Democratic ranks because the Democratic Party's disposition is always a knee jerk to go back and always assume that the blue team is less offensive or less bad than the red team. And as a result of that, what that ends up doing psychologically is convincing people that maybe this time the Democrats will do right by us, even if only a little bit.
So are we going to get into our next story about what the Democrats, well, and the Republicans, but what our Congress people are actually spending their time doing now? Yeah. I mean, because I think this is really important. I mean, I don't know if people are aware about the proposed resolution. I believe it was Gottheimer from the Democrat side, and I forget who it was from the Republican side, the House Joint Resolution.
Mike Lawler from New York.
Lawler. So Lawler and Gottheimer. So both, isn't Gottheimer's New York too, isn't he? Where's
He's Jersey.
Illinois? Jersey.
Jersey.
And they want to, I think I sent it to you, Colin. I think it's a PDF about this resolution. Yes, this is House resolution. I think people should know what our Congress people, both colors, red team, blue team, what they are doing. And again, these are our employees that are supposed to be doing what we want them to be doing. And instead, they're spending their time creating this kind of nonsense.
This is how they invest their time and effort.
Can you scroll it, Colin? Okay, so here we go. I'm going to read this because I'm going to own a lot of what these things are. So in my mind, if they're going to file this resolution against Hasan Piker, and I didn't really get into their claims about Candace Owens because I didn't read all her statements, so I'm not going to agree or disagree. But so this is what our Congress people are putting forth as a resolution. This is what they're working on. Condemning anti-Semitic hate-filled rhetoric and content disseminated by prominent online personalities and urging social media platforms and public leaders to denounce and address such conduct. Oh, we're going to address it right now, guys. Yeah, Congress people, I'm going to address it right now. Whereas the rise of digital media platforms has enabled individuals with large audiences to disseminate disinformation, commentary, and political viewpoints to millions of viewers worldwide. Whereas such influence carries a heightened responsibility to avoid rhetoric that promotes hatred, violence, or discrimination against any group. What?
Wouldn't that be the same as going on CNN, and MSDNC, and Fox News in front of millions of people and having a responsibility not to lie every time you open your fat fucking mouths? But, you know, I'm just saying.
You mean like saying things like Haitians eat dogs and cats? And
they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats.
Okay, so hatred, violence, or discrimination against any group, including Jewish individuals and communities. Whereas anti-Semitism has surged, again, you can say whatever you want, right? What are your facts? There's no numbers with this. Okay, they just want everybody to agree to this ridiculous thing. Has surged in the United States and globally in recent years, fueled in part by online disinformation, conspiracy theories, and extremist rhetoric, whereas anti-Semitic incidents have significantly increased, including a 344% increase over the past 5 years. Bullshit, Greenblatt. Stop getting, let me tell you something, Congress people, stop getting your information from the ADL. Okay? They're lying sacks of shit, but so are you. So I digress. So, and 893, blah, blah, blah. This is where it gets to the good stuff. Whereas Hasan Piker, okay, our Congress people are spending their time on our dime going after Hasan Piker. There's a genocidal entity with a leader that we welcome with open arms here. And they're creating a resolution against Hasan Piker. Okay. Whereas Hasan Piker, a prominent online streamer, has often used anti-Semitic rhetoric, including expressing support for Hamas, a designated foreign terrorist organization. Okay, attention, Congress people. I support them too. I support them. They're not a terrorist organization. And the only people that say it's a terrorist organization are you and your lackeys. No one else in the world thinks of them that way. So they're not a terrorist organization. So no. Whereas in August 2019, during a stream on Twitch, Hasan Piker stated that America deserved 9/11. Guess what, guys? American people did not deserve that. Did our empire deserve that? Hell yeah. And then some. That's where we're at. So again, so point one, agree with Hasan Piker. Point two, agree with Hasan Piker. Whereas Hasan Piker referred to Orthodox Jews as inbred. Yeah, they are. And you know what? Not only will I say they're inbred, but as someone who had to have genetic testing for 2 different pregnancies based on being genetically Ashkenazi, it's because of inbreeding that there are now 8+ genetic diseases on the Ashkenazi blood panel that they give to pregnant women.
You're being anti-Semitic.
That's from inbreeding, Gottheimer.
You're being anti-Semitic.
This is so ridiculous. Whereas Hasan Piker downplayed sexual violence committed by Hamas, a designated foreign terrorist organization. Again, you got, okay, so it's Lawler and Gottheimer. Which one of your AIPAC handlers wrote this drivel for you? And can you please take their cock out of your mouth? Seriously.
No, tastes too good.
Because this is insane. Okay, stating downplayed sexual violence. You mean that was debunked? This is what our Congress people are putting in a resolution, something that we know didn't happen. Okay, terrorist organization against innocent civilians, stating it doesn't matter if fucking rapes happened on October 7th, like that doesn't change the dynamic for me. Yes. So not only are you lying about the rapes, but agree again. Even if it's true, it doesn't change the dynamic. Continue. Whereas Hasan Piker expressed support for Hamas on multiple occasions, including on April 14th, 2026, stating Hamas over Israel every single time. Yeah. Let me ask everybody in our chat, if you were going to be held hostage, would you rather be held hostage by the IOF or by Hamas? Everybody put your answers in the chat. We'll see who we'd all pick.
Yeah.
Okay. So Hamas over Israel. All right. That's every single one of those points. You could take it down. I want to be very, very public and very clear. Oh, you want to read Candace's? Because I don't know what hers were.
Whereas Candace Owens has employed rhetoric that has included conspiracy theories accusing Israel of controlling the U.S. government. True. Promoting false claims that Jews are taught by ancient religious texts to hate, Colin, where are you? To hate non-Jews and casting doubt on the truth of the stories of Holocaust survivors. Oh, God, these fucking people. Whereas on February 1st, 2026, Candace Owens posted on X an anti-Septic claim that the U.S. is controlled by satanic pedophiles who work for Israel. Have you read the Epstein files? Because I've read at least a little bit of it to know that you're all a bunch of satanic sick bastards. And
okay, wait. Can we not rope Satanists into this? Seriously.
No.
That's another one of those completely ignoramus things that people don't even know what the hell they're talking about. This has nothing to do with satanic anything, okay? These are billionaire, pedophile, narcissistic, malignant freaks.
Imagine putting something into this bill to go to bat for the Epstein files.
But I'm just saying, unless you show me actual tangible proof of actual satanic things, stop throwing that around. Just, it's silly. Anywho, continue.
During a podcast appearance on December 8th, 2025, Owens repeated false claims that Jews are killing Christian children as part of religious rituals, and that they are. Have you seen what they're doing in Lebanon? Have you seen what they've done in Gaza? Have you seen what they're doing in Iran? Have you seen what they've done in Yemen? And again, I can go on and on. This is as you said, this was clearly written by a pro-Israel lobbyist. Like, that's who wrote this.
Oh, not only that, but everybody be very clear that if there was any actual meat to any of this shit that they're claiming, then they would be filing a libel claim against her. But they're not filing in a court of law a libel claim against her. They're just spending their time on our dime to sit here and write up useless resolutions that, even if passed, don't do anything. So really, I want everybody, if you live in Lawler's or Gottheimer's district, I'm going to assume that your life is just perfect, that your district is perfect, that everything is great, that nobody is unhoused, that everybody has what they need. I'm going to assume everything is so fucking good in your district that your representative has so much time on their hands that this is what they're prioritizing.
Whereas during a podcast appearance December 8th, Owens repeated false claims that Jews killing Christian children as part of religious rituals and Jewish texts and traditions promote the sexual assault of children, which is an anti-Semitic trope constituting a blood libel. Well, guess what? If you've ever dived just a little deep into the Talmud, you would understand that there is some effed up text out there. You know where else there's effed up text? In the Old Testament. Why don't you read some of the stuff that they say there? And this, again, you are not winning any arguments. Western religion is effed almost completely in so many respects. It's the more peaceful religions that are the ones that are, well,
so here, where the stuff what Candace starts getting into is not stuff that I agree with, right? So here's the thing. It's the point being, it's irrelevant. I don't care if she said it. I don't care whether I agree with it. The point is, this is not the job of our employees to be creating resolutions against what content creators are saying. So the only reason I specifically wanted to read the Hasan Piker ones is because I want to be very clear on the record that they're going after him for something that I agree with every single point, and I'm probably not the only person. Whereas the stuff she was saying, I didn't really, a lot of her stuff got a little weird for me, but the idea that they're creating a resolution is ridiculous.
Yeah, no, this is an example of they are doing everything they can on behalf of the Zionist state to kill free speech forever in this country. That's basically what they're doing. Because once you let it go, you're not getting it back. That's one thing we know for sure, is that unless there is a revolution, there is no way to get it back. You can't have it. And this is why I implore each and every one of you to be organizing to get to the Capitol whenever you can. There has to be a presence there. It is the capital of our country. It is the meeting ground for where all of this stuff goes down. And whenever you can get there, you get there. And
I'll watch from afar going forward.
You've got responsibilities now. You got to take care of a farm. That's real work.
It's not exactly a farm, but we're working on it. We're working on it.
And I also want to point out something. Do not think for a second that we are supporting Hasan Piker, that I think in any way, shape, or form this guy is real. I think that there's a lot to his shtick. He is somebody who was given an incredible opportunity at life by his uncle. You know, Cenk is the person who built up the Young Turks, and he was able to build his network through the Young Turks. And he's obviously built a pretty solid network. I'm not going to say that he hasn't, but there is something to be said for a guy who's reading, I think he's reading Marx or something like that.
But if it's a picture, you don't know that it's not. I'm not saying he doesn't read that, but it doesn't look very candid. What is he reading? Oh, they're pointing out that his ring is expensive. This is the kind of shit they're worried about. He has money. Who cares? That's irrelevant. Then that makes him a class traitor, and it makes us like him more. That's not the point.
Well, here's the one thing that I will say that I think people have to recognize, especially if you're trying to be a leader of any kind. If you have money and you are claiming to be for the working class, you're claiming to be I don't know what Hasan claims to be. If he claims to be
That's
social.
the thing. We're not supporting him or not supporting him. I feel like we always go down these holes when we talk about people with our chat.
Could I please? You're missing the point here. If Hasan is trying to be a leader, which I think he's trying to be, I personally, I don't like his ego. There's a lot of things about him. I'm not into it. I personally think that he abuses or he's done things to his dog that I absolutely unequivocally have seen that I think is completely fucked up. I don't want to hear anything from anybody. Let me tell you something. You don't hurt dogs. You don't even, there are a lot of ways to discipline animals, especially dogs, the way he has done it. I definitely disagree with it, but
there's you know what? We don't discipline animals. We provide positive reinforcement in training. Right. We don't discipline. You don't discipline animals. That's not how that works.
Now, if you have money, there is nothing wrong with having money. But if you are claiming to be thought leader, somebody who's trying to lead the charge from a progressive perspective, let's say, there is something to be said for flashing your bling, flashing your lifestyle. It's not smart. All you're doing is making enemies. And I'm not talking about enemies from the other side of the political spectrum. I'm talking about people that are looking at you and thinking, okay, most people will never get here. And, on the one hand, you're reading Das Kapital, and then the other hand, you're rocking a $5,000 ring. It's
okay,
like,
can I honestly, I have to say something. Who cares? Who cares what his ring is? You can believe in an ethos, and that doesn't mean that you haven't spent money on nice things, or maybe you were gifted something. Maybe it was bequeathed to him. Who knows? It's irrelevant. It's like, that's just wanting to go get you a gotcha. And it doesn't serve. It doesn't serve. If what somebody is speaking up for is in the best interest of the collective, then I don't give a shit if he's wearing a Cartier ring. Now, if it turns out that he's fleecing money from the collective to have said Cartier ring, like an evangelical pastor, that would be different.
Very well
If
said.
said person happens to have money of their own accord and also is speaking out for the collective, people, why are you looking for problems? That doesn't help. It just doesn't help. So that's silly.
Again, when I see people start going in here and defending him, listen, he is not above reproach. Okay, there are things about him that are not likable. Whether you like it or not, and you like
I'm
it,
not saying anything about him.
but I'm being very clear about this. There are things about him that, again, I don't like. With that being said, does he support issues that I support? Of course he does. And I think that that's very important. But I also think that you have to be realistic about how far he's really willing to take some of his rhetoric, particularly when he is very adamant about supporting the Democratic Party, particularly AOC. I don't trust AOC. I don't think she is somebody who's going to do right by us. And I think the fact that he is hitching, stop it already. Okay.
Well, I don't know if that's true or not, and I don't know the story about him with the shot collar, so I don't know.
It's got nothing to do with the shot collar. I've seen enough things. I've seen the way he talks to his dog. It's not for me. I just don't like it. Schultz,
to me, we're so far off.
Hold on a minute. Listen, I don't give a fuck if you like it or not. You want to walk. Okay, I'm tired of this shit. There are
I don't
times
know what everybody's getting so upset about. I came on here wanting to do a piece about that Democrat and Republican Congress people are spending their time going after a content creator, period. At the fact that content creator's comments that they specifically pointed out in that resolution are
really?
Things that I agree with. Is
oh
the
my
point.
God, please go to
Clearly you like something here.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, it is, honest to God, there's
all right. We're so off subject about Hasan Piker that he is not the point. We're so far off.
Yeah, that's my point. It's like, listen, I am barely criticizing him, and people are having a conniption fit over it. Like, this is insane.
Guys, we don't have a problem with him. We agree with something.
And you know what? I disagree. And we can disagree. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't think the way he's handled his dog in certain situations, I think is appropriate. And that's me. Let me explain something. If anybody ever touched if it was Ginger, if it's Reese, if anybody touched my dog like that, oh, watch out. That's
okay. So this is where, this is the stuff that I would point out. Anything that I would have to say about him politically is that if he does support Dems, the truth of the matter is I don't follow him. I know it's Cenk's nephew. I don't really know anything about him other than he's been in the news for anti-Semitic shit that I will not abide being called anti-Semitic, and I don't give a fuck who says it. So you all are off there arguing about Hasan. That's beside the point.
Why doesn't Hasan Piker endorse Butch Ware?
Because he ends up getting everyone into the Democratic Party, which at the end of the day makes him a tool. Great. I don't care. That's not the point. Nobody here is promoting him or any such thing or talking shit. I was simply pointing out a resolution.
That's all. And I think that's the whole point of all of this, guys. You have to, again, why are you here?
Yeah.
What
It's a troll. Why are you responding? Stop it.
Why do you like our channel? What is it about our channel if you know that
You're in here to screw with you? Move on.
Like,
We've got good
come on.
stuff.
It's like that's the type of stuff where it's like,
stop. Move on.
Again, the whole purpose.
He's too religious.
You guys have to be again. This is the whole thing about being able to collaborate with people. I have differences with people like Hasan and Candace, but I also understand that when you get right down to it, what you have to do is you have to be able to put differences aside, and you have to be willing to take a step back in order to take several steps forward. It's the only way. If you have convinced the powers that be that in the end you will not change, that you will continue to fight within those parameters, they're not going to change. Like I said, the only thing that makes anybody move in politics is money. That's it. If you affect the money supply, that is the only thing that makes things change. So when somebody says, I don't like Butch Ware, and then I would say, well, do you not like him because he's running in the Green Party? Do you not like him because he hasn't been very effective in fundraising? Again, what is it? There's always going to be a reason. And Zionist propaganda? No. The fact of the matter is, we do live in information silos. We do. And being able to be out there amongst people and understanding how people tick. It's kind of like with the Ossoff ad. Now, we can see through it and we know it's propaganda, but you would agree that it's an ad that's going to reverberate with the liberal class. Am I right about that?
Yes. I mean, at the end of the day, my mission is my mission, right? And there's lots of different facets of it. And I don't expect any one person to be in line with my entire whole mission, right? So whatever I can do to facilitate that, whoever wants to work at different facets along the way, that's a win. It just is. I don't defend people. I don't condone shit that I don't condone. But I don't have to like everything about someone to agree with something they said or to discuss something about them and then have a bunch of nimrods going off and arguing about the validity of said person when that's completely beside the point.
Yeah,
so
and
that's the thing.
And listen, the same thing is true with Candace. There are people who think that she's infallible and that she can't do anything wrong. And as crazy as this is for me to say, it is absolutely insane, but it's the reality of the political silos that so many people live in. There are people who truly think that Erica Kirk is a weeping widow. They really do. Maybe maybe we're just living in another echo chamber where it's just bots that are doing this on social media. I don't know. But I think that there are people who truly have bought into this idea of Erica Kirk is just a weeping widow and Candace is a nasty bitch who's going after her because she was secretly in love with Charlie Kirk. It's like, this is what you convince yourselves of. How about we are living in a broken economic and political system that can't be saved, that people cannot afford to live.
Nimrod is the word that I used to call when I was back in my law school days, what I used to call the people that spent a little bit too much time partying.
Yeah.
Like, these are nice people, but they were kind of like ding dongs or, yeah.
And so I think it's, if we keep our eye on the prize and we understand just how much of a problem the Zionist lobby truly is and how effective they are.
Yep.
There is no more effective story that I saw in the last few hours than the one about what's going on in the UK right now in London. Do you know that in the last year, how many stabbings have taken place in the UK?
How many?
49,191. And
in
yet,
a year.
In a year. And yet, the Prime Minister of the UK wants you to know that 2 stabbings of people that happen to be Jewish is a terroristic crisis for the city of London.
2 out of 50,000.
2 out of 50,000
is Okay.
But this is a problem. So, as some of you know, when I lived in the town that I grew up in New Jersey, I have a friend, well, an acquaintance now. I would not say that this person is a friend. It's not a person that I'm breaking bread with anymore, but somebody who I knew pretty well, who is a very devout Zionist, very proud, shit liber Zionist of the worst kind, who posts videos like this online thinking that this was something that they were going to garner sympathy for. Actually, what you ended up doing was giving me a great story idea for tonight to just prove what a bunch of sappy pussies you all are, because you're now living in a silo which you cannot keep closed anymore. People are not coming to protect you.
Wait, did you say Zio pussy? Zio pussy? Is that what you said? I don't know. Okay.
He's going to be on his way out pretty soon. So, to our British friends, this is what's going down in the UK right now.
I don't feel safe anymore.
I teach in a Jewish girls' school just up the road. The girls were quite hysterical when they heard. They didn't know, is it their family, their cousins, who knows?
I'm a proud British Jew and a Jewish Brit. But it really does worry me. Something I've never felt before.
Who gives a fuck?
Really?
Who gives a fuck?
I find it hard to believe that this guy never felt that before.
This is such a level of cuckery, if I've ever seen it. I've never felt safe. I think they're going to come.
You're not entitled to.
You're not entitled to feel safe.
Now.
Feeling safe is a privilege. It's not a right. Where do people get this idea that I have the right to feel safe?
You know what I would say? I would say, I wonder if the children in Gaza feel safe. I wonder if the children in Sudan feel safe. I don't think so.
I don't think they feel safe at all. But you know what? They're not going to cry like a bunch of bitches like you guys are. You're used to having your cake and eating it too. And now what you're discovering is that people don't care. Now, I'm not saying that anybody should be coming into your neighborhood and stabbing people. But the idea that you want to play dumb, you want to play ignorant and dumb, like you don't know what the fuck is going on, like you don't understand why there is this visceral hatred towards Zionist Jews. Are you stupid?
JD Party Hat, point made, touche, get it. But in this context, we got to go with it. I'm not changing the whole graphic. We understand you. We feel you.
Right. Jen really doesn't like Mauskowitz.
No, I really don't. Well, you know what? It's just, he is very symbolic to me of a very particular type of person in that area, in that district, that, yeah, is just such a weak little man.
Yeah, his
I see
head
the top of his head. I could see the top.
His head comes to your boobs. That's basically it.
He's not that little, but
he's like 5'5". So, I mean, listen, I stood next to him.
I see the top of his head, but yeah.
Well, listen, it's not like, look, he was wearing like those like thick, gel, sneakers. But it's just clear. Again, I have nothing against petite people. I am only, as I've said before, skeptical of the Napoleon complex when people get power that are not tall or even normal height. He's short. For a man, he is short. So I am always skeptical of those particular types that have a big chip on their shoulder, and when they get power.
Wait. You don't mean short men are a particular type?
No, I'm talking about specific types of short men that are desperate for power, that want that power and want to swing their little dick around. Well,
I'm just saying it's not a height thing as to why he's, I want to be very clear about that. To me, and I'm going to say this, and people who know me know that I feel this way, one of the sexiest men to me on the planet is Peter Dinklage. You know it. You know it. You know I love him.
Absolutely.
And so
he's great.
I assure you, my like dislike and like look down as a small man to Moskowitz is not about his physical stature.
No, but you also know that
he's a little man. What'd you say about Peter?
You just know he could kick the living shit out of.
I love Peter. I love him. I love him. We have a skink, a lizard that lives in our planter, and I named it Peter Skinklage. And like, let me tell you, I love him. I've liked him since the Nip Tuck years, and he is definitely like, I am a fangirl.
Yeah, that's a
there is a confidence. If you've ever seen him do an interview, I mean, also he's an amazing actor, but if you've ever seen him do an interview, how he talks, how he presents himself, that is one of the sexiest motherfuckers. Like the way he carries himself and his confidence. Oh yeah. And by the way, for people who are wondering, people that are little people have normal size man parts. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
My wife won't go outside the house. My parents are now actually moving to Israel, sadly, which is a real shame. I mean, they love this country, and
no one is from Israel. And you're so damn scared that you're now going to go to Israel. Make this make sense. Make it make sense. But as we've said before, the one thing that's very noticeable, ladies and gentlemen, this is a class war, nothing more. These are affluent people. These are people with money and power, ways and means. These are not workaday people. These are not the average people at all. These are in a very protected silo, and it's being pierced, and they hate it. That's too bad.
The community is in shock.
I'm not sure there's much speech for my children here, actually, but that's the reality of it. Are the government going to do anything meaningful? Well, let's wait and see. Don't hold your breath.
All right.
Again.
Libertarian Social Democrat, my husband's a urologist. Where do you think I learned about that from? Anywho.
Pirate Justin, you nailed it. This is Golders Green. This is a rich, affluent Jewish neighborhood on the north side of London. And this is where it happened. And again, I don't want to be picking on anybody in particular because gun violence, which is obviously much worse than knife violence, but this was the thing about Marjorie Stoneman Douglas. It happened in Parkland. It happened in a wealthy, very wealthy Jewish community. And when that happened, the entire world needed to stop for Fred Guttenberg, Andrew Pollack, and the rest.
Mm-hmm.
Because they believe that they're more important than you. That's how this works. And Fred Guttenberg didn't like it when I confronted him on social media, and being the person that he is, decided to reinforce his beloved support for Debbie Wasserman Schultz and block us on social media. Which just goes to show you, but it just goes to show you how much of this, first of all, is a class war. It's also we stick together because we're better than.
The worst violence is poverty, then war. And people like Fred Guttenberg and other very privileged people who have a horrible, violent thing happen in their life that is a horrible, violent thing that I would never wish on anybody. And that's just like, that's not the point. But instead of taking that as an opportunity to maybe look further into a society that has led us to that, they take it as an opportunity to stay as comfortable as possible in their little belief bubble and just focus on a single issue, which is gun violence.
Yes.
But yet, when they talk about gun violence, they don't really want to address the bulk of gun violence. The bulk of gun violence is handguns, not mass shootings. Nope. The bulk of gun violence is familial or suicide or, but it's people we know. It isn't random mass shootings. While those happen at a ridiculous pace, they're still dwarfed annually by gun violence that is not that. And yet people like Fred Guttenberg probably never thought twice about it and still doesn't give a shit.
And
that's the problem with those people.
And this will be a good transition, but I do want to play this short clip real quick. I want people to understand why the hatred towards Zionists, especially Zionist Jews in particular, has grown so exponentially and will continue to grow. And it is going to be a problem for everyday Jewish people as well who aren't even Zionists. They're complaining from a stabbing, saying that they don't feel safe, pretending like they don't understand that they have the right, not privilege, to feel safe. How do you think this 10-year-old Palestinian girl feels after being pulled out of the rubble in Gaza the other day?
بدك تطلع شو بدك تعملي من هون؟
بدي اطلع اروح اسلم على خاله، خاله حيحكي الحمد لله على سلامتك يا خاله.
نرجع نطلع. يلا. يلا قدمي شوي صغيرة، قدمي يا عمو.
ماسكة ايدي؟ تمام يا عمو تمام. عشان انا راح اطلعك صح؟ صح يا مرح؟
صح وسلم ايديك، والله تعبت كتير.
حبيبتي يا عمو، والله غير اطلعك ان شاء الله. تخافيش.
طب يلا.
اتفقنا؟
يلا.
Is that her father? Is that her
I'm
father?
I'm not sure. Maybe.
يلا انجبت مش حقتك بدي اشربك. يلا اشربي. شربها بالغطاء يا عبد الله. يلا 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 يا فرح طلعنا هاي. بعد 8 ساعات الحمد لله الحمد لله. هاي فرح بخير. خلصنا يا مرة. هيك بخير ها؟ هيك بخير. صح. يلا. طور يا مرة. يا روح بالعافية.
I'm going to pull up this picture one more time.
Oh my God. No, not him. He's not as anywhere. Yes, him. This is the motherfucker that doesn't feel safe.
I don't feel safe. How do you think that little girl feels? And because of your sorry, pathetic, cucked ass, who wouldn't know how to defend himself in a fist fight, much less a knife fight or a gunfight, you are a person who supports the state of Israel, who supports this genocide, and now you're really wondering, oh, why is it that everybody hates us? I thought we were the chosen people. Yeah. How do you feel about that girl? But she's she's a terrorist, right? Or she's going to grow up to be a terrorist.
And
So I
this
guess
is, by the way, this is a little girl that seemingly got out of that physically relatively in peace. Okay. That was actually
she's a lucky one.
Decent outcome. Well, let me tell you this, of the videos that I've seen over the past almost 3 years, this one had a decent ending to it. And that says something when there's a baby being pulled out of rubble, that's the one that's had the good ending. Oh.
Hundreds of thousands of these kids were mutilated, burned, fried, crushed, starved, maimed, harassed, threatened. About the kids having heart attacks. You think Hind Rajab's the only one? Hind Rajab's the only one that they caught on video.
What about the kids wishing they were dead? What about the kids wanting to be dead? 5-year-olds. I cannot.
Jenna, if you're watching this, I do not give a fuck about how you feel or any of your family and how they feel. And if you don't ever want to hear from me again, I don't give a fuck. You are not allowed to be privileged. It's a privilege to be comfortable. You do not have a right to it. And when you post that shit online, keep posting it, because I'm going to keep addressing it in the same context that you refuse to address it in. You are a Jewish supremacist of the worst kind, and it pains me to say it because you're a sweet gal, but you are extremely privileged, extremely misguided, and you refuse to see it any other way other than within the perfect little enclave of the slice of upper middle class suburbia in central New Jersey that you've managed to carve for yourself. Congratulations. Be happy with it. Keep your fucking mouth shut and don't talk about it, because the rest of the world is now going to know how all of you think and how all of you feel. And I am never going to stop, ever. This is a cross that must be bared for the rest of my life.
Yeah, we need to know more. Okay, clearly there won't be a second date if this was that girl.
No, this wasn't a date. This
I know. This is a girl that Peter went to high school with that's basically a princess that posts princess privilege shit online and tries to engage him. And this is the girl, from what I recall, that wanted to come on the show and talk to him. But yet, as soon as he told her that she would actually be talking to me, then all of a sudden she didn't seem so interested or wanted to bring some rabbi with her.
Like, that is a...
Go away.
Like, I can't sympathize with you. I can't. This is, again, this gets back to the whole point of,
yes.
If you
Correct, the Jap.
live in that silo.
A Jersey Jap.
Yeah, if you live in that silo and you're comfortable in it, okay, don't involve me. There is nothing you are going to say to me or anybody else that has woken up to the reality of Zionism, what it is and what it will be until it is no more. And if that makes you uncomfortable or that makes you scared, tough shit. You've all brought it on yourselves. I don't even know what you think of Palestinian people. You probably don't even think they're Palestinians. You think they're Arabs, like so many of you have referred to them for centuries. This is what you do. And now you are seeing it in real time. As people pointed out, as I have always pointed out, this has always been a class fight. So when people like Dan Bilzerian come out and say it's the Jews, what it really is the Zionists. And I would be surprised if there are any Zionists, especially Zionist Jews, that are not part of a comfortable class of society. And yes, they ruin it for everybody else. They do.
All right. Well, everybody's talking about Japs in the chat. It's an opportunity for me to share my good Jap anecdote about college. No, we won't hide you for saying Jap. I grew up in one of the Jappiest Jap neighborhoods. So this is my anecdote. And then Colin, are you cool? I want to talk about the SCOTUS thing. Can we move on to that, or do you have another Zio thing before I tell my story, my good story about the Japs, because this is what's so funny. Sure. So guys, when I was a freshman in Colorado, and this was, oh my God, so spring of '89. And I had a roommate my first semester that was this girl from Appleton, Wisconsin, Lisa Mueller. Sweet girl, very nice girl. I felt bad for her. She had to live with me. I don't wish that on people. She was a nice girl, but she didn't really know a lot. I think I was the first Jewish person she ever met. And so we lived together, and I would tell her about stories about where I grew up and the Japs and this like Jap, and like how I talk. And so then a few months later, we're sitting in the study room in my dorm, and I overhear her talking to another table of people saying, "You should talk to Jen because she lives in a really Japanese area." And I'm like, excuse me?
Wow.
So all the time, like the month that when we were living together the first semester, she thought I was, first of all, that she thought I was referring to Japanese people as Japs is insane to me. That just seemed like normal thing. And that she didn't even think I was a bigot for using it in that way, which is hilarious. But then when I told her, she was like, it was like a whole new thing to her. Anywho, that was my experience with that.
So you have a Supreme Court.
I do. Guys, we don't talk a lot about SCOTUS. We don't, I've been trying to kind of bring back some of these things that are going on besides West Asia and different things, especially that are affecting the least of these in this country. And one of those things, we saw that, they handed down the case that is allowing the gerrymandering, and we know that, a batch of cases. And one of the cases that they're sitting on that they're going to release something any day on is the removal of protective status for Haitians and Syrians in particular. And there's a reason this is very interesting that this is happening with this Supreme Court. So Supreme Court mulls Trump administration push to end protections for migrants from Haiti and Syria. Scroll. Colin, thank you. Okay.
Now you know how it feels.
Yeah, but how do I say it? Nobody in there would be yelling "Free Colin" for how I say it. The Supreme Court on Wednesday wrestled with the Trump administration's push to end legal protections for migrants fleeing war and natural disaster, hearing arguments that offer the latest test on how the justices will assess the legality of the president's far-reaching crackdown. This is so infuriating. Several conservative justices appear to be leaning in favor of the Republican administration's argument that the law limits what courts can do with a program known as temporary protected status, or TPS. The outcome could come down to Chief Justice John Roberts and Justice Amy Coney Barrett. The government is appealing the lower court orders that blocked the Department of Homeland Security from immediately ending the TPS status, or TP status, for people from Haiti and Syria. If they agree with Donald Trump, authorities potentially could strip the protections from up to 1.3 million people from 17 countries, exposing them to possible deportation. Continue. The court has sided with the administration before and allowed the end of the program for people from Venezuela as lawsuits continue to play out. Is that the end? Okay. The Department of Justice argues that the Homeland Security Secretary has the power to end the program and that the law bars judges from questioning those decisions. The kind of determination that is at issue here is just the sort of determination that lies kind of at the heartland of what has been traditionally entrusted to the political branches. What a bunch of fucking word salad, John Sauer. Fuck. Okay. Lawyers for about 350,000 migrants from Haiti and 6,000 from Syria say the government short-circuited the process and that judges can consider whether authorities followed all the steps laid out in the law. Since Trump returned to the White House in January, DHS has ended the protections people from 13 countries, some of whom have lived and worked in the U.S. legally for more than a decade, have lost jobs and housing in a matter of weeks. Returning to Haiti and Syria is out of the question for many people because those countries remain wrecked with violence and instability. Wonder how that happened there. Well, one can't even begin to understand that. This really is life or death. 4 Haitian women who were deported from the United States in February were found beheaded and dumped in a river several months later. The administration appealed to the High Court. So they lose on their ability to be bigoted pieces of shit, and then they double down. Okay. They appealed to High Court after New York and District of Columbia agreed to delay the end of protections. One judge found that hostility to non-white immigrants likely played a role in the decision to end protection for Haitians. You think? You think so? During his campaign, Trump amplified false rumors that Haitian immigrants were abducting and eating dogs and cats in Ohio, home to a large community of people with protected legal status. Haitian people are here. They are homeowners, business owners. They're working. They are paying their taxes. So there will be a big impact in the economy. Operations manager of the Haitian Community Help and Support Center. Scroll. Okay. Federal authorities have denied that racial animus played any role in the decision of removing legal protections. They cite a Supreme Court decision from Trump's first term that rejected bias claims based on social media posts and upheld the travel ban on several Muslim-majority countries. Roberts questioned whether that administration is asking for a significant expansion of the decision he wrote in 2018. And here's where it gets very interesting. And I pulled up a picture. Okay. Barrett, who has
Coney Island.
Well, so this Supreme Court justice, that's her and her family. Do you notice something about 2 of her children? Yes. Anything look interesting to you about 2? Which one of these things is doing their own thing kind of thing? The 2 of her children look a little different. That's because she has 2 children adopted from Haiti. Okay. And she now has to make this decision. Okay. You could pull it away, Colin, because I'm going to explain it in lay people terms for the people as to what this is and what we're dealing with. So basically, the best argument that the state attorney has, or that the Solicitor General who's arguing on behalf of the Trump administration, the best argument is that the Supreme Court doesn't have the authority, that this is within the executive branch. So he's arguing it just based on the very limited scope, which the Supreme Court does have limited scope, and that this is just really outside of their jurisdiction, that they really don't have the authority to be involved here. Okay, that's what they're arguing. Okay, and this is where I'm going to get back to when we were talking about lawlessness before, and I think this is very, very important. We are lawless. We're lawless. Okay, so right now, this is an appeal regarding the Supreme Court, and specifically Amy Coney Barrett, because if in fact you are a mother to 2 Haitian children. I get what the technical parameters are of SCOTUS. I get it. And if these were normal times and we were living in the world where the court wasn't political, where everything wasn't upside down, where the corruption didn't just ooze all over the place, and we were really a lawful type of people and system, then I could see the argument of the Solicitor General. And I would always have been one of the first people to stand up and say, that's not within their jurisdiction. We need to stay within the Constitution. That's not the Supreme Court's jurisdiction. I am so far past that now. And it's it is such a moral thing at this point that it just looks silly that the solicitor's arguing about their procedure when we're talking about the lives of these people. It's infuriating to me. And I cannot fathom how somebody who could be the mother of 2 Haitian children would put that aside.
Well, maybe
in favor of what their procedural stuff is.
Well, maybe they're her house servants. I mean, you never know.
No, those are her children. I know they're her children.
We're going to
She
talk
has 2
about
adopted children from Haiti. Those are her children.
If we're talking about the Supreme Court, we might as well address this. So the U.S. Supreme Court under Roberts takes wrecking ball to the Voting Rights Act. This obviously is a big deal. We knew that.
This is the gerrymandering. I mean, yeah. This is essentially undoing any protections that minority groups had in terms of being completely washed out of the voting, having their voices heard.
Let me tell you something. The Democrats are going to regret what they pulled in Virginia. Because if you think that the Republicans will not come back twice as hard, you're nuts. That's what they do. And that's what they are doing. The Voting Rights Act of 65 has often been called the crown jewel of the U.S. civil rights movement, but under a U.S. Supreme Court led for 2 decades by conservative Chief Justice John Roberts, experts said that jewel has lost its luster. In a 6-3 ruling on Wednesday, powered by its conservative justices, the court gutted what scholars said was the last remaining pillar of the landmark law enacted after the Bloody Sunday March in Selma, Alabama, with the aim of preventing racial discrimination in voting. The metaphor is a wrecking ball, said Rick Hasan, an election law expert at UCLA, describing the Roberts Court's approach to the Voting Rights Act, or VRA. There are still parts of the VRA that are operative, but the 2 main pillars are now virtually dead letters. Those provisions include Section 2, subject on Wednesday's court ruling, the decision which blocked an electoral map that had given Louisiana a second black majority U.S. House representative district, will make it harder for minorities to challenge electoral maps as racially discriminatory under the landmark civil rights law. The ruling was issued with congressional elections looming in November as President Trump and fellow Republicans fight to maintain control of both the House and the Senate. Trump hailed Wednesday's ruling and said he thinks Republican-led states would now want to reconfigure their voting maps. Obviously, they're all going to do it. Every Democratic state, every Republican state, they're all going to do it. You can kiss primaries, or you could kiss competitive elections goodbye now. Everything's primary elections going forward. That's the way it's going to be. Supporters of the ruling include John Yoo, who served as a Justice Department lawyer under Republican President W. Bush, said it continues the court's campaign to ensure that the government obeys a color-blind constitution. A sharp dissent authored by Justice Elena Kagan and joined by her 2 fellow liberals
I resent that. I resent that phrasing. Thank you.
Which?
Two fellow liberals?
Yeah, really.
Really?
Corporate people.
Nice AI newscast here.
Cast the ruling as the latest chapter in the majority's now completed demolition of the Voting Rights Act. Kagan pointed to another ruling involving Section 2 in which the conservative majority court in 21 endorsed Republican-backed measures in Arizona that a lower court said would disproportionately burden Black, Latino, and Native American voters. Kagan also cited a 2013 ruling authored by Roberts in a case involving Alabama's Shelby County that gutted Section 5 of the Voting Rights Act, a provision that had required states and locales with a history of racial discrimination to get federal approval to change voting laws. Wednesday's ruling, Kagan wrote, is part of a set.
Yeah, this is not, I mean, Yahoo News is not like the best thing. Do you know anything about this? I don't know anything about the FISA extension passed today.
I don't want to speak on.
It doesn't sound good. It doesn't sound good.
No.
I will have to investigate further.
But this is, again, an example of how much do I really care about this? If we lived in a functioning democratic republic, I might care. But the system is designed to keep you living in fear that if you don't vote a certain way, your life is going to get worse. Not how do I make my life better? I don't see anybody, and I mean anybody, even the very privileged people who love to go vote and being a part of the team is such an important part of their daily lives. I don't ever hear anybody ever say, we elect these people, I think we're going to have better lives. It's always be an adult about this and vote a certain way, because if you don't, your life is going to get worse. It's always defense. It's never offense. And if you ask me, that's one hell of a broken system if there ever was. So keep breaking it. Keep breaking it, because it's not.
A lot of your best friends are Arabs. That's cool. That's cool. They speak of the Arabic languages.
I think that was meant as a tongue-in-cheek.
No, it's not. And again, there are many, it's not a negative term. It's only negative when the Zios use it to completely ignore and, vanish Palestinians. That they use it as a generic term so as to not have to address that there's people there. So that's where I get sensitive about it. But no.
I definitely agree. I think that the America First movement is the movement. How it's led is the key. And breaking away from this broken system is the key. Remember, the people who suffer from these decisions are the vulnerable. Supreme Court decisions, as we just displayed, are decisions that are made to keep the system broken the way, or constructed the way that it's constructed. Because again, the goal is not to change anything. The goal is to make it systemically worse to protect those that have the power. Those Zios that we showed you a little while ago, they need to feel safe. So they'll feel safer without having to worry about some type of a revolution coming. But I'll tell you,
that's the only ticket that I would get behind, where I think it could be helpful, right? Like that right there would be the only, that's the salvation, is that whole concept. But yeah.
What am I running for?
Where's he running?
Where am I running to?
Ooh, where am I running? I'm running. I've got chickens. I'm not running. I have chickens.
You got kids now. You got more kids. You became a mom again.
We cut out this little space so Lou's snout can look in, and she could look at the little babies. She'll go over there and check them out.
Bob Ross is absolutely correct. Running for my health. We have to continue to speak truth to power, because again,
This is interesting. This is another thing about what you were talking about, the bullshit in the UK, because this is probably much more the norm than anything remotely threatening.
Correct.
So I appreciate that. Thank you, Ninja.
Once again,
Toby.
Once again, proving that it is a class war, nothing more. This is why people like Medea Benjamin catch the hell that she catches, because Medea is Jewish and she's a socialist. You see, this is the reason why they call her Chinese, or she's an agent of China. And this, again.
Put Evita, you want to see the chickens again? Put Evita wants to see the chickens. Colin, why don't you put the chickens in the media thing so that I could show my chick? Because, well, they get bigger every day, but yeah, we could show the babies.
Chicken babies.
Well, somebody said that there are chicken babies. They're gonna be so big so fast, like they don't stay little very long. So,
no, they don't.
Pretty soon they're gonna be, but they're inside. They'll be inside for a couple of months.
It's amazing how Muscovy ducks are so cute, but then they grow up to be scaly and not so attractive.
Muscovies are interesting, but those are, they live out there in the wild. Plus, there's a lot of differences between chickens and ducks. I know you might not see them as different, but they are in fact different.
There are. I'm not saying that. I'm just using it as an example. Colin, please pull up the Strait of Hormuz story. So apparently it's now like a...
I didn't have edibles. I have chickens. I'm not making that up. I'm not.
Now it's an officially enshrined clip. Here it is.
Oh, yes. And I honestly, they're so cute. There's 6 of them. There's 5 that are that one type. And then there's 1 that got put in by accident. That's another type. And we contemplated bringing, we don't want anything to be bad for her. They seem to have all accepted her, but her name's Edith. But she's a different type. So she's not going to look like, when she grows up, she is not going to look like these guys. That's what the 5 of them are going to look like, that. And she will not. She's going to be like a really reddish brown. We're just going to tell everyone that she's adopted. That's all. When people notice, because they're going to notice that we got 5 of one and 1 of another, we're just going to, it's obvious. We know she's adopted. So that's how we're going to handle it.
There is something to be said for what the media will and will not cover when it comes to what is still going on in Iran and Lebanon and Gaza. I don't know what they think they're going to move on to, but let me assure you that Iran, as we have said, is on their last. We're on their last nerve at this point. And Khamenei is not messing around, despite all the propaganda that this country tries to throw on behalf of the Zionist state and the very privileged shit-lib neocon class of this country. Iranian supreme leader says the only place Americans belong in the Gulf is at the bottom of its waters. That's some pretty serious language right there.
Wait, what was that? I'm sorry.
Are you baked out of your mind or something? What's going on?
Why is everyone talking about me like, first of all, I am no more baked than ever. But I was just looking at something, but that looked, scroll back down. I just don't want to miss the headline. I just don't want to miss it. I'm paying attention. Iranian supreme leader. Well, yeah. Why are we there? Okay. Valid.
Iranian supreme leader vowed Thursday in a defiant tone to protect the Islamic Republic's nuclear and missile capabilities, which U.S. President Donald Trump has sought to curtail through airstrikes and as part of a wider deal to cement the war's shaky ceasefire.
Exactly. That.
Colin, what I know I was able to read this article. Why are we not able to see it?
Looks like it's a pay article.
I'll do it.
Fortune might be, yeah. That's okay. There's probably somewhere else to find this, Peter, because I think that this is not the only, I don't know. It sounds like it's something that'll be in other stuff. Just find another source.
Colin, pull up AP if you can. Just put in Iranian Supreme Leader.
It's all good. Shit. Shinola. Shit. Shinola.
Iranian Supreme Leader defiantly vowed Thursday to protect the Islamic Republic's nuclear and missile capabilities, which the Donald has sought to curtail through airstrikes and as part of a wider deal to cement the war's shaky ceasefire. In a statement read by a state television anchor, Ayatollah Mojtaba Khomeini said that the only place Americans belong in the Persian Gulf is at the bottom of its waters, and that a new chapter was being written in the region's history. Khomeini has not been seen in public since taking over as supreme leader. I don't blame him. He's probably in a bunker 100 yards underground, following the killing of his father in the war's opening airstrikes. His remarks come as Iran's economy is reeling, and its oil industry is being squeezed by a U.S. naval blockade, halting its tankers from getting out of the sea. The world economy is also under pressure as Iran maintains its chokehold on the Strait of Hormuz, which is a fifth of all crude oil is transported. On Thursday, the global benchmark for oil, Brent crude, traded as high as 126 a barrel. That shock to oil supplies and prices is putting pressure on Trump, who is floating a new plan to reopen the critical passageway used by the U.S.'s Gulf allies to export their oil and gas.
Exactly.
Under the plan, the U.S. would continue its blockade on Iranian ports, which coordinating with allies to impose higher costs on Iran's attempts to subvert the free flow of energy, according to a senior administration official who spoke on condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to comment publicly. In a cable sent Tuesday, the U.S. State Department instructed American diplomats around the world, except those in Belarus, China, Cuba, and Russia, to seek their host government support for the Trump administration's call for assistance in establishing a maritime freedom construct that would ensure free and unimpeded access to shipping through the Strait. This commitment reflects broad international consensus on the need for coordinated action to counter Iranian maritime provocations and ensure navigational rights and freedoms in the Strait of Hormuz. The initiative being led by the State Department and the Pentagon's Central Command is a fundamentally defensive response to protect the rights of all countries to navigate international waters freely and safely, and to hold Iran accountable for its aggressive and illegal actions to impede the free flow of commerce. Actually, that's their country. They could do whatever they want.
Why are we there in their business, in their space? Imagine if they were in the Gulf of Mexico. Imagine if they were just hanging out somewhere, down off of, I don't know, somewhere off of Mexico and Hawaii and just having their stuff in all of our business. Why are we by the way, which is not getting covered, is all of our bases in West Asia have been completely decimated. There's no there there. They're never coming back.
No.
Our bases in Qatar, in Bahrain, in the Emirates, in Kuwait, and in Saudi Arabia have been destroyed. We no longer have bases there. And here's the thing, we never will again. And Iran is defending their land from foreign invaders because that's us. So to me, the entire caucasity of us even being there, the only thing that, that's right, the only thing that we could have to do over there would be to politely ask the people in charge of that region, the Iranians, how can we trade with you? And let's be friends. And we're going to trade, and we'll pay you, and we'll pay you for the use of your stuff, and you'll pay us for what we do. And that's what we'll do. And when you come over here, then you'll pay to go in our space. And that's fine, right? No, we can't do that. We're incapable of coexisting on this planet with others. And I was thinking about this. Somebody went off on me in one of our comment sections about that if I hate this country, I should leave and all of this stuff when I say that we get what we have coming. Let me explain this. I will always root against the bully, period. I will always root for the people being bullied. The fact that the country I live in happens to be that bully is unfortunate. But suggesting that someone leaves to go where else in the world that our country is also bullying doesn't solve the problem. I don't hate the people who live here. I hate the empire.
Same. I love my country. I hate who runs it. At the same time, Trump has also floated possible changes to U.S. troop presence in allied countries in Europe. The day after the president announced his administration was conducting a review on potentially reducing the U.S. troop presence in Germany, he was asked by a reporter whether he'd weigh pulling U.S. forces out of Italy and Spain, which have sparred with the U.S. over use of bases for Iran-related operations. Why shouldn't I? Italy has not been of any help to us, and Spain has been horrible, absolutely horrible. The U.S. blockade, which as of Thursday has turned back some 44 commercial vessels, according to the U.S. Central Command, is designed to prevent Iran from selling its oil, depriving it of crucial revenue, which also potentially creating a situation where Tehran has to shut off production because it has nowhere to store oil. A recent Iranian proposal would push negotiations on the country's nuclear program to a later date. Trump said one of the major reasons he went to war was to deny Iran the ability to develop nuclear weapons. Sure. Iran has long maintained its program is peaceful, though it's enriched uranium at near weapons grade levels of 60%. Good, they should arm themselves. It's the only way to prevent us from trying to F them over. Pakistan on Thursday said it was still facilitating indirect talks between the U.S. and Iran aimed at easing tensions, but that Islamabad would also welcome direct communication between the two sides, even by phone. If the two parties can engage in real-time conversations, that could ease the sticking points, said Ministry of Foreign Affairs spokesperson Taher Anrabi. At a weekly news briefing, he declined to share details of any Iranian or U.S. proposals. Speaking to mark Persian Gulf Day in Iran, Khomeini's remarks signaled that nuclear issues in Iran's ballistic missile program won't be traded away. And again, I don't blame them. 90 million proud and honorable Iranians inside and outside the country regard all of Iran's identity-based spiritual, human, scientific, industrial, and technological capacities, from nanotechnology and biotechnology to nuclear and missile capabilities, as national. Again, there's no surprise how nationalistic Iran has gotten since this all got underway. Khomeini referred to America as the Great Satan, a long-hurled insult by Iranian leaders towards the U.S. since the '79 Islamic Revolution. How much more does it have, Colin? All right, I'll skim it. Iran announced Thursday it hanged a 21-year-old man over charges stemming from the nationwide protests in January, the judiciary's Mizan news agency reported. The agency identified the executed man as Hasan Azadvar from Isfahan. It is said he was hanged for the crime of effectively cooperating with the enemy by attacking police officers. Activists and rights groups say a crackdown on dissent, including a wave of executions, has further intensified since the U.S.-Israel war with Iran. UN Human Rights Chief Volker Turk said on Wednesday that at least 21 people have been executed since the start of the war. Iran routinely holds closed-door trials in which defendants are unable to challenge the accusations they face, rights groups say, warning that several other people remain at risk of execution.
I'm so angry about that. Oh, I'm sorry. You don't like that Iran executes people? Okay. Can we go back to where the genocidal entity just celebrated being able to execute Palestinian hostages that haven't even been given due process? But I don't hear you talking about that.
There's
So
also
now we're
there's also
talking
one-
about this. So
well, I was just going to say there's one other caveat here that isn't being talked about. And I'm not excusing the Islamic Republic's actions in any way, shape, or form, but I will say this. If you think that a substantial portion of these executions have not been brought on because of the clandestine operations between the State Department and the Mossad, who have infiltrated into that country with people posing as Iranian citizens, how much you want to bet that a substantial portion of the people who have been executed are actually agents? Now, is it possible that citizens that have been fighting against the government have ended up getting executed that are Iranian citizens? Certainly. Guys, live in the real fucking world. Live in the real world.
Seriously. It's so frustrating to me. And I am somebody, and we've discussed this, vehemently opposed to capital punishment. So I don't agree with that in any country, but we do not get to stand on some sort of like high horse. Exactly. And talk about capital punishment somewhere else. No, I can't take that seriously. You are not a serious person. If that's your beef with Iran, then you really are just, you're missing the whole point.
I think I'm okay now. Despite a ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon-based Iran-backed Hezbollah militants, the group has continued to claim attacks on Israeli troops in southern Lebanon. Israel's military said one of the soldiers was killed in a battle there Thursday, raising the troop casualties to 17 since the Iran war started. Air raid sirens sounded multiple times in border communities in northern Israel on Thursday. That's a shame. Israel military said it struck military structures used by Hezbollah. Blah, 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 blah. Late on Thursday, the foreign ministry of UAE, which has come under attack by Iran during the war, announced a travel ban for its citizens covering Iran, Lebanon, and Iraq. Of course. So there you go. This is just another example of, again, not rooting for the enemy or rooting for somebody abroad, but rooting for the collapse of empire, because we are going to continue to be subjugated into this bullshit until enough people rise up and realize that there are much greater issues at play here. It also brings
I'm rooting for Iran.
Yeah.
I'm flat out rooting for Iran. I will always support the oppressed over the oppressor. Iran didn't decide to do this war. Iran didn't start a war with us. And so, yeah. And anybody who doesn't get that, I don't know. I don't know what you're watching or what you're smoking, but that's just not, no.
So let's try to end on a positive note. We go up, down, up, down, up, down. So I think I may have mentioned once or twice before on this show that I am a graduate of Rutgers University. Jen doesn't particularly care for my Scarlet Knight credentials. She was a Colorado Buffalo and a Northwestern. What is Northwestern again?
Wildcats.
Wildcats. That's right.
And St. Mary's is Rattlers, but that has nothing to do with my thoughts about Rutgers. I don't have thoughts about Rutgers. I just make fun of the fact that you always tell me that you went to Rutgers. I would say the same thing, whatever school it was, just that you always tell me where you went to school. I would always mock that. I don't have a problem with Rutgers. It's a good school, isn't it? A good public school.
Yeah, it's a public Ivy. It's like you
Okay, so what? I have no problem with Rutgers. It would be wherever you went that you would tell me, I would be mocking. Okay, it's not Rutgers.
Here's the issue here. Okay. So this is a part of New Jersey where there is a sizable Jewish population that does go there. The Jewish diaspora is very strong in this part of New Jersey, and the Hillel is very powerful at Rutgers. And I don't know for certain if it was Hillel that hosted this event. However, they decided to host IDF soldiers. You know, just because that's just so fucking normal.
Well, that's who the organization that Hillel is part and parcel with JNF, which is the Jewish National Fund, which is at the root. That is the base root of funding for all of this stuff. And Hillel is just one of those tentacles. So that is their fund. Like, that's who they are.
A Jewish student decided to make his voice heard.
Killed over 70,000 Palestinians. The IDF has killed over 300 journalists. The IDF has targeted children. The IDF has killed over 1,700 healthcare workers. The IDF have targeted children. Hydra Job, 6-year-old, was shot 335 times. 335 times. When my
Now, I want you to not look at this young man who obviously has a lot of courage. And the one thing I think you would agree is that he's nervous.
Yes.
He probably thought a lot about what he was going to say, or, you know, I'm going to stand up. I'm going to speak up. My grandmother is a Holocaust survivor. This is wrong, what you're doing, etc. But I want you to look at the big hat on that little boy who's sitting in the background with the gestures on his face, with the eye rolling. How dare
No, Mehdi, he's speaking. The IDF soldiers are sitting on a panel, and this is a student that is calling them out.
And yet you get this little twat rag here sitting in the back, making all these gestures as this guy is up there. Again, this is the thing. In real time, you're watching the actions of the Zionist state against a person who's trying to be a good Jewish person, separate the two from each other. But guys like him in the big hat do not want there to be any separation. Zero.
Unless you're the Neturei Karta. And they are also Hasidic sect, and they are anti-Zionist. So you can't generalize about the hats.
No. It's unfortunate that it is only one subsect of that group, but there's a lot of them who support the cause, like this kid, because he looks like a kid. I mean, listen, he might be an adult, but you know, I mean, especially today, you know, the one thing that I don't think gets talked about enough that I'd be curious what your thoughts are on, technology has set back cognitive development on youth in such a profound way that somebody who was 18, let's say in 1989 versus 18 today, the level of maturity difference between the two, I would think that there's like a substantial difference.
This is proven. And actually, there is a gentleman who testified before Congress, and I got his name, and I know at some point I had forwarded it, and I do think we reached out to have him on. That's a fact. It's not just speculation. What you're saying is actually a fact. That these kids are not developing in terms of like emotional, social, cognitive problem solving, because everything is in the palm of their hand. So no, it's a fact. And also it isn't even just the social thing. It's the technology in schools. Yes. Even using technology in schools for educational purposes has been dumbing down our people.
Oh, that's on purpose.
Yeah.
That's on
so I'm
purpose.
just saying it isn't even just the cell phones and the social media. When you want to talk about what's really happening, because it could be what people think, oh, well, this is very educational, and this is an educational show, and this is educational software, and all these schools with all this high-tech app.
Well, listen,
children cannot learn like that. But anyhow, we digress.
Well, this is also one of the reasons why, and I haven't covered it much. Maybe I'll probably try to cover it on Saturday with the election coming up. But this is one of the reasons why Jeff Yes supports Thomas Massie. Thomas Massie is a huge advocate for homeschooling and the dismantlement of the Department of Education. And I got to tell you, the more you learn about the broken system that is our education system in the United States, I understand why there's a massive movement for homeschooling, because there's a lot of things that are not being taught. The other thing about homeschooling, you can keep these things out of your kids' hands when they're in school. I mean, who the hell knows?
No,
You know,
I'm telling you, they take them, even when they take them away. This isn't the problem. Okay. This is, that's what I'm trying to explain
Well,
to
it
you.
is, but it
They
isn't
have
the
kids
problem. It's a
now.
problem. It's not the problem.
Yes. They have at school now where kids in classrooms have to put their cell phone in this thing up at the front of the class, and they don't have it during the class. So let's take that out of the equation. But then the teacher is using some form of tech to teach the lesson, or the kids are reading from online books and not actual books. Every part of that is a problem. It isn't just social cell phone stuff. It has nothing. I mean, that is a big part of the social issues. But as far as the cognitive delays and developmental problems that we're seeing in education, it has to do with the tech in education. It's a problem. But nobody wants to talk about that because people are going to profit off of it.
Touche.
Grandmother, my Jewish grandmother told me about the Holocaust. She told me never again. This is not never again. Never again means never again for everybody. And if justice is real, then the IDF will go down. You guys will be prosecuted at the Hague. You guys will go down. Justice will prevail.
They called the police. Although, no, actually, maybe the police were already there, because those people don't feel safe.
Because they don't feel safe.
God forbid one of their own speaks up. Oh, he's just a bad Jew.
Yeah.
You know, that's the phrase that goes around. By the way, the youths that are in the crowd are not that mature.
Yes, Israelism did expose Hillel. But for those of us who know about Hillel personally, nothing in that was remotely surprising.
The whole basis of their ideology, and again, I wouldn't care. I don't think anybody would care. You can believe whatever you want. My old friend from back home, that's a proud Zionist. Again, I don't think anybody would care about any of this if they didn't have the systemic control over our lives and how our country executes its governmental and political policies on behalf of this genocidal ideology. I don't think anybody would care. You could be whoever you want to be. You could say whatever you want. You could be a shitbag from now until the cows come home. But when you pull the levers of power and you're doing it in our names and you are destroying our country from the inside out, yeah, I have a problem with that. And everybody else should too. And if there is going to be technicalities along the way in terms of how people speak and how they feel, people hate Jews. That's the reality of life. People hate blacks. If you as Jews, you think you got it bad, try having dark skin. See what that's like.
Well, the Jews don't like that, you know. And again, I am an absolutist about this. People are allowed to hate whoever they want to hate. Not only are they allowed to hate people, they're allowed to talk about it. They're allowed to say it. They're allowed to say mean things. They're allowed to have all sorts of things. They can say whatever they want. And again, I'm in favor of knowing where my bigots are. I like to know who the bigots are. So you please, by all means, show yourself. Again, and that brings us like full circle to that ridiculous resolution about like patrolling people's anti-Semitic thoughts. So that was where it all comes down. Like, let's just say everything that Candace and Hasan Piker said was completely, literally anti-Jewish. I won't even say anti-Jewish, hating on the Jews, blaming Jews for everything wrong.
Do we have freedom of speech or do we not?
This is the problem. Apparently not. So that's where, and it isn't just about speech. It's about they're really trying to police morality based on immorality. It's not going to work.
And can I also
you
say,
can't be simultaneously supporting a Holocaust and then standing and creating a resolution against somebody that you deem to be anti-Semitic while you're supporting a Holocaust.
And can I say one other thing?
It doesn't compute.
The thing that they say, this is what the Zios say. They say, you have the freedom of speech, you don't have the freedom from consequences. What consequences do you mean? You mean to tell me that
people get fired? And I agree with that. Look, I also agree that you work for a private business, you piss off your boss, you're going to lose your job. I think that sucks, but I also think it sucks to work for somebody that you obviously are that diametrically opposed to.
Yes,
also.
but what you also, yeah, but we have, again, I've experienced this firsthand, where because of what I say, it wasn't just that a person who clearly had a lot of pull was able to get me fired. They did it through threat of action against them. We will harass you. We will make your lives a living hell if you don't do what we say. This is another reason why Zionism is going to fall, because people now are, it takes time to fully understand the ideology, but to also learn the tactics of how they operate. Once people realize that the way that they roll is to essentially be a Gestapo, because that's what they're doing. This is how they, Leora Rez, who runs Stop Anti-Semitism, this is what they do, and they're proud of it. They admit that this is how they roll. That this is, we got them fired. I feel like
these people are not aware. I need to educate people on, like, SCOTUS, because it seems to me that this has already been decided. So that's what brings me back to we're just lawless now, because we've already decided that you can walk around saying shit about Jews. And as I want people to do that. I do. Please, by all means, announce yourselves. Let us know who you are.
And Gurley Flynn, the other thing that I think I had mentioned when I got fired was that it kind of dawned on me that Keller Williams is a very Christian organization based in Central Texas. And what do we know about Texas? Texas is the biggest Christian Zionist state by a wide margin in this country, a wide margin. So it isn't surprising to me that one of the biggest concentration of Christian Zionism in the country happens to be in the same area where Keller Williams headquarters happens to be. So when what happened, it could be a combination of reasons. But make no mistake, if one of the reasons was I spoke out against Israel, and that goes against the Christian Zionist values of the organization, that's their decision. It's a private company. They could do what they want.
Exactly.
It's fucked up, and they're going to pay for it in the long run. But for now, they can get away with it. But eventually, the entire country is going to turn on Israel. It's inevitable.
And honestly, the thought police really is just unacceptable.
Nobody wants that. Nobody wants Big
show.
Brother. If there's one thing we know for sure about this country, with the exception of the comfortable shit libs, if you cut them out of the equation, the one thing we know about this country that they take with great pride, even though they don't realize that the Fourth Amendment doesn't exist anymore, people's right to privacy and to not be harassed is actually very important to pretty much not every citizen, but most citizens. People that live comfortably, that think they're above the law.
Where I live, it matters a whole lot.
It matters a lot, like it does. This is the reason why the true libertarian conservatives of this country believe in the Constitution, because those rights matter to them, because they don't have a lot. They don't have a lot of money. They don't have a lot of resources, but what they have are their hands and their effort and perhaps the plot of land that they have been able to sustain. And by that measure, having these inalienable rights, which we should all have, that many take for granted, is something that people in rural Georgia, they don't take it for granted. That's why they loved Marjorie Taylor Greene. For people from other parts of the country, they think that she's a Looney Tune. But you know what? Where she was representing people, she was somebody that was revered there. They thought she was as swell as sliced bread or baked banana bread. That's something that's, fairly common in places like that. Very tasty, by the way. Point being, we do this knowing full well, And again, it's not lost on us that our channel is heavily suppressed, that we are dealing with this uphill battle every time we go live, every time we talk about these subjects. And even if we have some disagreements about certain things, yes, like Hasan Piker or even some things about Candace Owens, point is, it's the issues, damn it. And it's the class war, damn it. And the sooner everybody realizes that that is what is making us united, but ultimately divided, because we find ourselves getting distracted or fighting over things that have no relevance. In the grand scheme of things, the fight against this state, this genocidal state, which is one and the same, as you've often said. The State Department is Israel, or the Mossad, and the Mossad is the State Department. They're one and the same. You cannot have these actions going on unless they were on the same page. And they are. And it's all for money and power. That's all it's ever been. So the fight continues.
Accord, Lord. I'm gonna say this. We consider ourselves people, and people that care about justice and fairness and working people. So stop looking for labels in all the wrong places.
Yeah, that's the other thing. This is like the whole thing that happened earlier on the live stream tonight when people got very defensive about me criticizing Hasan Piker. It's like, guys, these people are not gods. People talk shit about me all the time. I don't give a fuck. Like, if I do something that you disagree with, point it out. And if Hasan does something that I disagree with, I'm going to point it out. And if you don't like it, too bad. If you cannot have legitimate disagreement, it's like saying John Ossoff did a good ad. It doesn't mean I agree with him, but I know a good ad when I see it. That was good production. It's going to come across in a way that is going to rally the liberal voter in the state of Georgia. And he has very Kennedy-esque disposition when it comes to how he presents himself. And in the Democratic Party ranks, that matters. And if he is the senator from a crucial swing state in Georgia, yeah. And Ossoff Whitmer ticket is a lot more. Let me assure you of this. I'm just speaking from somebody who worked in the depths of Democratic Party politics. If you were to ask me right now, where do I think people would find, or at least people that really want the Democrats back in power, who do I think that they're going to be more inclined to want to support, especially since Ossoff is right next to South Carolina? Let me assure you of this. There is much more of an appeal to the savvy Democratic voter to support Ossoff than it is to support Newsom. Partially because Ossoff presents himself much better, even though he's corporate and corrupt and probably a Zionist, even if he doesn't say it publicly as loud as others, in a state like Georgia versus a state like California. And the same is going to be true with somebody like Whitmer. I am just merely preparing you all for what's coming.
We're going to have to talk about this at some point. We didn't. I mean, I know we have to. We will. We'll get to that. I know it's a thing that we have to, and we're not going to cover it tonight. We're going to, wrap, but that is something we do need to cover.
Yeah, no, it's way too late now, but I was going to say, yeah, that's.
And then the last thing I had, we don't need to do tonight either. It's also something that is not urgent, but it was just like one of those educational type things.
Guys, if you could make sure, again, I know the audience is a little tiny tonight, but make sure to go over to Substack at Revolutionary Change. Sign up there. We want to build our email list out as best we can. We want to be able to remind people that we are live. A lot of times people may not necessarily be reminded. We know that that's a problem. Maybe the subjects weren't as sexy tonight, but Lord knows we're going to have a lot of fun on Saturday because I've already got a few of them lined up. I will hold off on talking about the scientists until Monday. I know that's probably something you're going to want to talk about. But if you are so inclined, please consider going over to patreon.com/revolutionary change for as little as $5 a month. You can become a paid supporter of our small but mighty, despite heavily suppressed, yet still growing channel. We recently passed 124,000 subscribers. I don't know if that's getting us a plaque or not, but we're still holding out hope. Maybe get lucky. Citizen Pendejo with the 20 pesos kicking us off. Trump was promised this ballroom 3,000 years ago. That sounds like a great idea. I totally need that ballroom. I mean, my God, could they make it more obvious of the setup? I need my ballroom. Hey, Craig. Yeah. Pirate Justin with the $5. Does Jen treat Peter and or Colin like how the JP Morgan female exec in the news treats her staff?
Is that some sort of like Amy Klobuchar type of situation?
I don't think you eat your food with a comb, and I don't think you throw shit.
No, but like, what's the deal with the JP Morgan female exec? I must have missed it, but people have referenced that. So I guess she was probably abusive to her people. You guys ask Colin. Colin will answer for himself.
Colin can't answer for himself. He's tied up.
Colin can answer for himself if he wants to. I have never been anything. Colin,
whenever Jen has lifted a hand to you, just remember it's out of love.
Colin,
what was the question?
They want to know how I treat you.
I think above average.
Shut up, above average.
God, you can't be, Colin, you're giving away the game. At least you can say that you hate me and I hate you.
No,
it's great here.
I've always gotten along well with Colin. Like I've always been. He's sweet. Like we've all. Come on, you know. All right, guys. Colin
we're good
is good. He's here. He's good. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jim Talent, for the $5 super sticker. Really appreciate you. A big, huge shout out to Emerald Toro with the $49.99.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate you, my friend. Thank you. And we love you very much. Citizen Pendejo with the 20 pesos. Fact, last October spared the GSF from Israel foul play. Yeah.
I love when people are shocked that Colin's a real person.
Yeah, thinking we got an A. You think we're AI people? You think we would fall into that trap? Not a chance.
No, he is a real person.
AI's
Who's Afro Man? Wait, am I missing something? Philip Blair, who's Afro Man? It sounds familiar. Duly noted. Sure. Duly noted 2427. Thank you for the $5. After 40 years, this still isn't about Iran being a threat. It's Israel wanting free reign over the land they want to steal through ethnic cleansing. Correct. And also add on, American empire has an interest in interfering with everything having to do with China and what they're trying to do with their infrastructure and their trade logistics and all that. And it's part of their initiative as well. So we have another motive too.
If you guys have not seen YouTube videos about Shenzhen, about Shanghai, even Beijing, you have no idea how far ahead China is than us in so many ways. So every little war game that we decide to play with them, meanwhile, the quality of life in China compared to ours is night and day. And you know what else I really love about Asian culture, ladies and gentlemen? They are extremely clean people. You can eat off of the fucking floor in the subway. That's how clean they are. I wish we were like that. I really do.
No, we're not like that. And we're going to wrap. And
Checkpoint Charlie with the $2. Love the chicks, especially the kitty, pigeons, mice, and most living things. Yes. Yes, Damian Thorne, like most of us, we absolutely do have a love for animals that unfortunately is not the same with humans. And it's not personal. I just think the unconditional love with animals is very special.
I have so many good critters around here too. It's so good.
And finally, last but not least, Valross64 gifting 5 Revolutionary Change memberships.
Thank you, Valross. Valross 64.
Something like that. I think that's good. So one more time, check out Substack at Revolutionary Change. Patreon.com/Revolutionary Change. Smash that like button, share, subscribe, do all those things we ask you to do. We love you all. We appreciate you all. I will see you Saturday. And free Palestine.
Free Palestine, guys. I'll see you guys over on Punch Up in a bit.
Good night, guys.